Have you ever seen an aircraft that disappears into thin air after taking off? No signal, no malfunction, and no warning. Just as if the sky swallowed it in a moment, and then 37 years later, it suddenly returns. Is that possible? This is not an ordinary event, but a mystery that has shocked the entire world. We are talking about Pan American Flight 914, which departed from New York to Miami in 1955, but never reached its destination. It was morning. There was a commotion at New York's LaGuardia Airport. Passengers were boarding. Some were holding onto their tickets, while others were eager to get on the flight as soon as possible. There were a total of 57 passengers and 4 crew members on the flight, and everything was normal. The plane was being flown by Captain Miguel Victor Curren, who was sitting in his seat checking everything. It was a short and routine flight, with the destination being Miami, Florida, and it was supposed to reach there in just 3 hours. The weather was clear, there were no issues, and everything was under control. At exactly 9:55, the flight took off, and within minutes, it left behind New York's tall buildings and reached over the Atlantic Ocean. There was a sense of calm on the passengers' faces. Some were looking out the window, some were reading newspapers, and some were talking excitedly about reaching Miami, but no one knew that in the next few minutes, their lives were about to change forever. At 12 minutes past 10 in the morning, New York Air Traffic Control tracked Flight 914 and reported that the plane was on the correct path. Everything was normal, but at 10:15, suddenly something strange happened. There was a jolt on the radar screen, and Flight 914 suddenly disappeared. In the blink of an eye, there was no trace of the aircraft. The air traffic control officials were astonished. They immediately tried to contact the plane. Flight 914, can you hear us? But there was no response. Flight 914, please respond. But there was only silence. There was a commotion at New York Air Traffic Control. The officials thought that maybe there was a technical glitch, but when they tracked all the other flights, everything was normal. It was as if Flight 914 had dissolved into the air. Miami Air Traffic Control was immediately informed and told that Flight 914 had suddenly disappeared from the radar. By now, the aircraft should have reached its destination, but it never arrived there. A search operation was immediately launched. Navy ships began searching the ocean for the aircraft's wreckage. Other airlines were contacted. The pilots were asked if they saw anything unusual in the sky, but no clues were found anywhere. 24 hours later, when no clues were found, Pan American Airlines issued a statement. Flight 914, with 61 people on board, has mysteriously disappeared. We searched every possible place but found no debris. We are deeply saddened that it is presumed crashed. But did it really crash? Or was this plane stuck in a different time and place? This was the question on everyone's mind, but no one had an answer. But then, 37 years later, in 1992, a shocking mystery emerged that shook the world. Flight 914, which disappeared in 1955, had become a forgotten story by then. It was considered a tragic accident. The passengers had been declared dead, and no one talked about this flight anymore. But 37 years later, an event occurred that shocked the entire world. On the 21st of September, 1992, something happened at Venezuela's Caracas airport that left everyone present stunned. The air traffic control tower at Caracas airport was busy as usual. Every flight was being monitored and everything was normal. Suddenly, an unknown aircraft signal appeared on the radar screen. The officer on duty, Juan de la Corte, looked at the screen carefully. This aircraft was heading towards Caracas, but there was no official information about it. He immediately called his colleagues. What aircraft is this? There are no flight details for it. An investigation began, and as soon as the aircraft model was revealed, surprise and fear appeared on everyone's faces. It was not a modern jet, but a Douglas DC-4 aircraft from the 1950s. There was a commotion in air traffic control. The control tower immediately contacted the aircraft. Unknown aircraft, please identify yourself. For a few seconds, there was no response. Everyone in the control tower was tense. Then a broken voice came over the radio. This is Pan American Flight 914, flying from New York to Miami. Where are we? Upon hearing this, Juan de la Corte and the other officials were stunned. Pan Am 914, but it disappeared in 1955. How was this possible? The control tower immediately granted the plane permission to land. The runway was cleared, and everyone's eyes were on the sky. Within a few minutes, the plane appeared. It was exactly the same as it was 37 years ago, with the old design and painting from the 1950s and the people. The plane landed slowly, and as soon as its wheels touched the runway, the airport staff was astonished. Its engines were of an old era. The windows and doors also seemed like they were from the year 1955. Everything appeared stuck in time. But an even more shocking scene was inside the plane. When the airport staff peeked inside through the window, they saw that the passengers were frightened. There was worry on everyone's face. No one could understand what was happening. Some people were nervously asking each other questions, as if it was still 1955 for them. The officials asked the plane's captain, Miguel Victor Curin, to open the door. But as soon as the captain looked outside, he was shocked. He saw modern vehicles parked on the runway. The airport's look had completely changed. He panicked and shouted loudly, "This is wrong. We shouldn't be here." The captain quickly got up from his seat. His hand was trembling. Just then, something slipped from his hand and fell down. The airport staff looked closely. It was an old calendar from 1955. Everyone got goosebumps. 37 years had passed, but the captain still had a calendar from 1955. How was this possible? The date on the calendar was 2nd July 1955, the day this flight went missing. It seemed as if time had never moved forward for these people. The officials tried to calm the captain, but he was extremely scared and anxious. He told his crew, "We need to get out of here immediately." No one understood anything. Then the captain suddenly started the engine. Then something happened that will never be forgotten. The airport staff tried to stop the plane, but the captain didn't listen to anyone. The plane sped down the runway and lifted into the air in just a few seconds. The control tower officials tried to track it on radar, but a few seconds later, the plane disappeared again. Where did it go this time? Was it a crack in time? Did this plane go into another dimension? This event seems like a science fiction film, but some people believe it is completely true, while others consider it a fictional story. The mystery of Flight 914 has been puzzling people for decades, and there are many stories and alleged witnesses supporting it. But is there any solid evidence? According to some reports, this story began in the 1980s when an American tabloid newspaper published it. It is said that this story was completely fabricated and there is no official record of it. Many experts claimed that Flight 914 never existed and no such incident was recorded at Caracas airport. So, where did this story come from? Was it just a fabricated rumor that became more mysterious over time? Or is the real truth hidden somewhere in a secret file? No one knows what the truth is. But one thing is certain. The mystery of Flight 914 still amazes people and perhaps always will. So you tell us, is this story true or just a fictional rumor? Or what are your thoughts? Do let us know in the comment box. Friends, thank you for watching this video till the end. If you liked the video, share this story with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We will meet again in more such videos. Until then, bye and thank you.